You can't imagine how many women are around Alex. After he saved two stunning beauties, he actually asked for both beautiful women to go to his house together to serve him. At this moment, Alex Xiao is happily enjoying himself at home. But suddenly, the door opened. Alex Xiao was startled. How did you get here? Ellen looked at the scene in front of her. Her face turned red with embarrassment, and her heart raced. Still pretending to be calm, she said, I've already greeted your leaders. They need you to go to our branch to assist in the investigation of the Wendy Jane assault case. But you seem very busy. Alex Xiao shyly sat up from the bed. The beauty seemed a little reluctant to leave, but there were more important matters to attend to. He said, No rush. Let me change clothes first. Perhaps it was because the atmosphere just peaked a moment ago. He is now looking at Ellen. They increasingly find her attractive. He started to imagine the scene of Ellen taking a bath. Ellen quickly noticed that Alex Xiao's gaze was off. She said, What are you looking at? He said, It's nothing. I was just thinking. The real culprit has been caught. What will happen to Mary Lynn? Ellen said while getting into the car. After all, it was premeditated murder. It depends on how it is handled. But her second husband said, We will find the best lawyer to defend her. There should be a good outcome. Inside the restaurant, colleagues came to celebrate the perfect solution of Wendy's criminal case. The guy with curly hair next to him leaned over to ask for advice. Hey Alex, how did you come up with this case? Is it related to the key maker? Alex Xiao explained. Before, Marilyn mentioned that when she went to Wendy Lane's door, it was locked. So how did the culprit get in? There are no signs of the lock being forced in the evidence. Therefore, the culprit must have used a key to open the door. Where did he get the key from? I will certainly suspect the person with a spare key. Everyone listened in admiration. Alex Xiao was particularly pleased. Ellen was speechless for a while. Alex is secretive and quick-witted. He is good material for a detective. After saying that, Alex Xiao seemed even more aloof. Ellen continued, I went to his house just now to pick him up. I also saw his two girlfriends. One was giving him a shoulder massage, and the other was giving him a leg massage. He seemed very happy. Alex Xiao couldn't understand it for a moment after listening. Is Ellen praising him or making fun of him in the end? So he started replying. Ellen is also very skilled in martial arts. Incredibly brave. Last time, I couldn't even lay a hand on her. In the end, I could only bite her on the butt. Ellen was so angry that her face turned red with embarrassment. She kicked him out with one foot. I never want to see you again. Alex Xiao was thinking about the complex psychology of women while hailing a cab. She clearly started it first. Just a few words, and she couldn't handle it. Due to the remote location, he couldn't hail a cab for half a day. Alex Xiao is getting more and more angry. How can she just say she doesn't want to see me and dismiss me? I don't want to see her either. At this moment, two drunkards were seen on the roadside. Alex Xiao came up with another bad idea. At this time, Ellen's dinner party has also ended. As soon as she stepped out, she saw someone urinating in front of her car, which made her extremely angry. She went up and kicked them right away. Asshole. You're looking for trouble. Alex Xiao smirked proudly on the side. Another drunkard. Scared to approach. Is your woman so fierce? Punks got beaten up. Just now. Alex Xiao was kicked out of the door. He walked on the street feeling depressed. He saw two drunkards on the roadside. He came up with a cunning plan. Brother, did you see that car? That woman is treating me badly. Can you help me pee on her car? Then he took out $500. He said it's yours after the matter is done. The two of them looked puzzled, not knowing what Alex was up to. But just then a young lad needed to urinate. He took the money and walked forward. Looked around. No one took off their pants. They started urinating. Just then, they were accidentally knocked over by Ellen. "If you don't clean my car today, don't think about leaving." Then she proceeded to give Punk a beating. Another drunkard that couldn't be stopped. Alex Xiao was grinning from ear to ear on the side. Suddenly heard some noise. There seems to be some movement inside the house. Why do I hear someone calling for help? What's going on? I should go take a look. Alex Xiao noticed that there was something wrong inside the house. These people are smuggling. Then a group of people came out. They marched aggressively towards Ellen. They said, "If anyone dares to mess with us, they are as good as dead." Seeing this, Alex Xiao also started to panic. He quickly rushed into the crowd. At this moment, Ellen is facing the fierce psychics approaching. At this moment, a psychic behind her picked up a stool and is about to smash her. Alex Xiao saw the danger and immediately stepped forward to kick the attacker flying. Ellen was moved by what she saw. "Is she helping me?" Then the two of them started fighting side by side. When Ellen threw a punch, she accidentally elbowed Alex Xiao. Ellen looked apologetic. Alex Xiao felt dizzy with pain in his head. "Ellen, you're in trouble." He quickly swept away the boy blocking the way with a shout. Walk towards Ellen. Grab her shoulder. He kissed her directly. If you subscribe to my channel now, you can easily meet beautiful girls tomorrow. Pay attention. The young man just finished his shower and came out of the bathroom. He saw two incredibly beautiful women on his bed just now. Alex Xiao even forcibly kissed his colleague. Ellen was really shocked by his actions. She quickly reacted and pushed him away. "Alex Xiao, you jerk." At this moment, colleagues who were dining together also rushed over, watching the scene before them with confusion, not understanding what was happening. Why are there people everywhere? Did Alex Xiao kiss Ellen? Only to see Alex Xiao with a look of melancholy on his face. He said to arrest all these people. They are engaged in smuggling. Then he stood up and led his colleagues to remove the dirty items from the house. Meanwhile, Ellen has not yet recovered from the passionate kiss just now. Her mouth was even kissed so hard by Alex Xiao that it was almost torn. Ellen bit her lip, feeling the soreness at the corner of her mouth. She thought of the man and instantly blushed with embarrassment. What a lunatic. He arrived home in the evening. Alex Xiao was naked, taking a shower in the bathroom. Thinking back to today's thrilling moments, he couldn't help but blame himself. He punched the wall. I am really a bad person. If she gets hurt because of this, I really don't know how to face it. Alex Xiao, with determination in his eyes, looked at himself in the mirror. I am no longer the reckless thug who fights without regard for the consequences. After taking a shower, he picked up his phone and received a series of messages from the neighbor next door. Then he saw two beautiful women in cool clothes on his bed. Alex Xiao was stunned. She said, "Sorry to disturb you, Alex." She even brought her luggage with her. We are afraid that those who were not caught by Boss Hong will come back to retaliate against us. Can we stay at your place for a while? Please. Alex Xiao looked at the two beautiful women on his bed. He is excited and emotional. But 3 people are really too crowded. Before long, Alex Xiao was kicked off the bed. The next day, he arrived at the police station. Alex Xiao brought a bag and threw it in front of his colleague. I heard that you are an expert. I have a bag of old antiques. Can you help me appraise its value? My colleague looked at the money in the bag with a surprised expression. There is a lot. This is worth at least 200,000. The serial numbers of the bills are consecutive. If you are lucky, its value could increase 5-fold. Alex Xiao thought to himself. It seems that the request system led me to discover this bag in the mine. It must want me to get rich. But the next second, the colleague quickly noticed something wrong and asked Alex Xiao, "Where did this bag come from?" Alex Xiao looked puzzled and asked, "What's wrong?" A colleague exclaimed, This is the ransom money. It's the money that the family members handed over to the kidnappers in the major kidnapping case in M-Town. Then he asked suspiciously, "What is your relationship with the kidnappers?" Only to see Alex Xiao give a sly smile and replied, "Yes." A group of rich kids were kidnapped by robbers on their way to school. After the ransom was delivered, all the hostages and kidnappers mysteriously disappeared. The reason is that 26 years ago, some of the wealthiest families in M-Town sent their children to prestigious schools in the city. They hired a taxi driver named Wayne to transport the children to and from school. Inside the car, the children were laughing and chatting all the way. They also enthusiastically sang a new song they learned at school to driver Wayne. They didn't realize that danger was waiting for them in the near future. At midnight, the sky started to pour with rain. All police cars had arrived at the scene where Alex Xiao found the ransom mine. The police were searching for clues with all their might. Helicopters were patrolling back and forth in the sky, not leaving any corner unchecked. Karen was on the side checking the details of the case from that year. 3 days after the van went missing, the kidnappers contacted these 5 families. They demanded each family to pay a ransom of 200,000 before releasing the captives. But after the relatives handed over the money, the hostage suspects and all the ransom have disappeared. There have been no clues in the last 26 years. The butterfly symbol on the bag containing the ransom is missing a corner. It's exactly the same as the bag you found. Daniel Zahn then took over the conversation. To catch someone in such a remote place and find a major clue. Sometimes I wonder if you are a god, kid. Alex Xiao thought to himself. It must be the request system helping me again. Why would there be so much money in this abandoned mine? Just as Alex Xiao was contemplating, the search team exclaimed in surprise. Attention all units. Something has been found. The journalists are quite well informed. The police station is surrounded by journalists. Reporters from all routes are trying to get an exclusive story. The reporters started asking questions frantically. It is said that the remains of the people abducted 26 years ago were found in the mine. Have all the victims been found? It is heard that the city bureau leaders have also arrived. The families of the deceased have offered a reward of over 1 million. Is it true? In the face of the sharp questions from the reporters, the police cannot reveal too much at the moment. Alex Xiao walked by with a melancholy expression on his face. No one could have expected that. Are there children under that mine shaft? Soon after, the police arrived at the scene of the analysis meeting for the major kidnapping and murder case in M-Town. Karen quickly beckoned Alex Xiao over. In the collapsed mine, 5 intact skeletons were found. After DNA comparison, it has been confirmed that 4 of them are Lisa Liang, 9 years old at the time of the abduction, Julie Liang, 12 years old, Tom Tang, 11 years old, and Honda Liu, 10 years old. The remaining 5th body is that of the driver, Wayne. The analysis was over, and it was already nighttime. Alex Xiao gazed at the moonlight outside the window. He remembered meeting the parents of the victim Tom a few hours ago. For 26 years, the parents never stopped searching for their child. They never expected to find Tom's remains in their lifetime. Saying this, they choked back sobs, holding Alex Xiao's hand, begging him to find the murderer at all costs. Thinking about this, Alex Xiao's eyes hardened. But 7-year-old Shirley Liang, the only one whose body was never found. If she's still alive, she would be 33 years old by now. Can she really be found just by the portrait drawn by an expert? He turned his head suddenly, and found a light in the corridor. It's so late. Who would be there? When he arrived at the door, it turned out to be Penny Chu. She always puts her heart and soul into the case. She never gives up any hope. At this moment, Penny Chu also noticed Alex Xiao's presence. Alex is here. What can I do for you? Alex Xiao smirked. I'm here to learn from you. Penny Chu said disdainfully. I dislike you as a person, but not your abilities. She asked. What are you thinking in the end? a group of rich kids mysteriously disappeared. What is the reason? That day, Alex Xiao and Penny Chu were working overtime together. They were discussing the details of the case. Alex Xiao came to the analysis board and boldly stated his own conjecture. All along, because the kidnappers have not shown any flaws, the police believe that they must have been well prepared before kidnapping. But what if their kidnapping was an accident? Penny Chu's face showed astonishment after hearing that. How could that be? Alex Xiao continued, saying that usually the kidnappers hold the person hostage. They will call the family members as soon as possible to demand a ransom. The purpose is to prevent them from going to the police. But the kidnappers waited for 3 days before making the ransom call, which easily leads to exposure. Also, typically kidnappers would drive themselves to abduct people. But this time, the van carrying the children also went missing. The van is too conspicuous as a target. It is very easy to be noticed by people. It would be even more troublesome if the vehicle runs out of gas or breaks down on the road. According to the predecessors, kidnappers are usually a group of at least 3 people or more. In that case, there are already 5 children and 1 adult in the van. Adding 3 kidnappers, wouldn't it be too crowded? Penny Chu, hearing Alex Xiao's unique perspective, which was very persuasive, felt that Alex was very capable. However, she still had some doubts. If they are not professional in kidnapping, how did they manage to make ransom calls, collect a ransom, destroy evidence, and disappear so perfectly? Alex Xiao raised his lips. You have never kidnapped before, so it's normal not to know. Kidnapping is actually a highly technical activity. I know someone who specializes in kidnapping. They couldn't possibly pull off the kidnapping case in M-Town so flawlessly. So, I think the kidnappers didn't have a kidnapping plan at all. It's even possible that they originally intended to steal a car or some money. They never expected there to be so many people in the car. At this moment, Penny Chu suddenly interrupted and said, Wait a minute. You said I've never kidnapped anyone. Have you kidnapped someone? She doesn't know. Alex Xiao was a big shot in the underworld in his previous life. Alex Xiao pretended to be calm. He said, What are you thinking? As police officers, we must understand the psychology of criminals. Penny Chu was half convinced. According to what you're saying, the driver Wayne is just being mistakenly implicated. He is not allied with the kidnappers. Alex Xiao explained that he is from the same village as the children and has a relaxed job like driving, so there is no need for him to be involved in kidnapping. However, if the kidnappers from that year were still alive, they must be rich by now. Penny Chu expressed her confusion. Alex said, Think about it. There is a bag of 200,000 cash buried under the mine. Only they know about it. If they are living in poverty, they will definitely want to dig out the cash to use. Penny said, Then we can start from this angle. Check if any relevant people back then were particularly wealthy. Alex Xiao sighed. It's just that the scope is too large and the difficulty is not small. Penny Chu, however, was very determined. As long as we continue to investigate, we will get results. I hope those kidnappers are still alive. He wants to be a good policeman for the people. But he is always surrounded by beautiful women. That day, Alex Xiao came to the forensic doctor. Leaning against Nikki Wang's desk, he spoke. Are you waiting for me? Do you have time for a drink? Nikki Wang cast a glance at Alex Xiao and said, Finish your case first. Then she handed him the autopsy report. After expressing his thanks, Alex Xiao began to examine it carefully. Through the autopsy, it was found that the collapse of the mine tunnel was due to an explosion. The 5 bodies all showed signs of impact from the explosion. However, it is currently impossible to determine if they died from the explosion or were buried after death. Fibers from hemp ropes were found near the accident site, indicating that the victims were likely bound with rope before death. At the time of the explosion, the rope was still tied to the victims. Driver Wayne had clear stab wounds on his left rib, with one rib broken and neat cuts on both sides. It is inferred that he was stabbed with a sharp weapon before death, with a high likelihood that he died from the wound due to its proximity to the heart. Alex Zhao remained calm while analyzing the case. His colleagues behind him, however, kept teasing him. "Alex Zhao, have you solved several major cases and made a fortune?" After Penny came over, they started chattering and discussing where to go for a meal. Alex Zhao felt annoyed and upset. He shouted that the noise was unbearable. All they did was talk about money and food all day long. Compared to Penny, who was still pondering over the case late into the night, these people were simply hopeless. He then angrily shouted, "If you want to eat, get out now! Don't disturb me while I'm reading the report." His colleagues were all dumbfounded. At that moment, the chief walked in. He thought to himself, could it be that Alex still wants to make enemies with the whole team? So he walked up to Alex, put his hand on Alex Zhao's shoulder. "Come with me. I have something to tell you." The colleagues behind him were all surprised. Is Alex Zhao on good terms with the director? Is he the director's nephew? Not only is he a colleague, but Alex Zhao himself is also surprised. Is the director really my uncle? After hearing the director call himself a worthy nephew, Alex Zhao looked bewildered. "Leader, do you have something to discuss with me?" Director Liam called him aside, picked up the thermos cup filled with goji berries, and said, "This is all I can do for you." He patted Alex Zhao on the shoulder. "Work well in the future and control your temper." After the director left, colleagues surrounded him and asked, "Alex Zhao, what did the director say to you? We are like brothers, tell us." Alex Zhao replied disdainfully, "He didn't say anything." That day, Alex arrived at the location where the kidnappers had instructed the family members to pay the ransom. Looking down from the mountaintop, all that could be seen below the cliff were desolate and uninhabited ravines. Even if you hid there, you could evade tracking. The kidnappers are indeed cunning. Suddenly, with a loud shout from Karen, Alex was frightened and almost lost his balance. He almost fell down. He hurriedly took several steps back. "Why are you shouting so loudly? I called you several times just now. What were you thinking about?" Alex Zhao was eating his popsicle and said, "I was thinking about when the family members had just arrived at the cliff. The walkie-talkie hidden under the rock started to ring." This indicates that among the kidnappers, at least one person had to keep a close watch on the family members' movements. The family members were instructed to stand inside the red circle drawn in advance by the kidnappers. Drop all the money at the same location down the cliff. There should be one kidnapper waiting below the cliff to retrieve the ransom that is dropped down. Another person is responsible for watching over the hostages. Karen reminded us that earlier, team leader Penny Chu said they can retrieve the ransom under police surveillance. They also destroyed the tracker in the ransom. The kidnappers must be very familiar with police procedures. It is highly likely that the kidnappers have worked in a police station or have friends who are detectives. Alex Zhao agrees. The explosives found in the exploded mine were commonly used blasting explosives in the mining area. Among the kidnappers, someone may be involved in blasting work at the mine. At this time, Alex Zhao's phone rang. When he answered, we heard him yelling, "What? Let me be a hooligan." In his past life, he was a big shot in the underworld. He unexpectedly crossed over into this policeman's body. But now someone is asking me to return to my old ways and be a hooligan. If you have time, please click on the like button and subscribe button, and tomorrow a beautiful woman will ask you to be a hooligan. In the restaurant, Alex Zhao quickly subdued the troublemaking thug with just a few moves. He threatened menacingly, "You ignorant sidekicks! Do you have any idea who you're messing with? Open your eyes and take a good look. I am Alex, the one and only. Sam is just a pawn." Pointing to the side, with a strong effort to hold back laughter, Sam Sue. The sidekick was scared and kept begging for mercy. Alex Zhao continued, Who paid you to cause trouble in the hot pot restaurant? The psychic claimed. It was someone who wears glasses, seems to be called Charles. I'm not very familiar with him. Charles gave each of us 200 to drive away the customers. Alex Xiao stood up and shouted. I heard that Henry's side offered 20,000. Charles gave you 200 to get rid of you. You are all fools. Leave the money and get out. Several people quickly put down the cash and fled in a panic. At this moment, Sam Su could no longer hold back and burst into hearty laughter, only to see Alex Xiao crossing his legs. These guys look like total novices. They have no thug experiences. At this time, Sam Su became serious. I'll take that as your agreement to what was just discussed. It turns out, Sam Su called Alex Xiao over this time to appoint him as a special investigator in the discipline inspection team. This way, in the future when they encounter such situations, they can interfere under the banner of the Serious Crime Unit, casually involving a certain case. But for now, they can only stall. They need to figure out their internal relationships before making a clean sweep. Alex Xiao finally understood. So, you came to city to investigate them. The head of our supervisory department in the bureau is just a figurehead. Sam Su raised his mouth slightly. Thanks to you today. If I had taken action, my identity would have been exposed. You just mentioned the name Charles, which is a good lead. I didn't expect you to act like a professional thug. Alex Xiao thought to himself. In my past life, I was an alpha gangster. Then the two of them burst into laughter. Alex Xiao seemed to have thought of something. He picked up his clothes and claimed that he had something to attend to. He was about to leave. Sam Su looked helpless. He has never finished a meal with him. Prison where serious criminals in the city are detained. A criminal named James slowly walked out of the prison cell and entered the interrogation room. He sat opposite Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao gave a sly smile. Kidnapping this person is a job for a true expert. Pay attention. This is the world-famous kidnapping and murder case that scared everyone. The killer is named Ames. But at this moment, he looks wronged like a baby. Just moments ago, Alex Xiao found this man named James, who has been involved in multiple kidnapping cases and can be considered an expert. Alex said to James, I'll be straightforward. In what situation would you tear up a ticket? Unexpectedly, James burst into tears upon hearing that. James said, Haven't you investigated my case thoroughly? The woman I kidnapped had a heart condition. She died suddenly on her own. It wasn't intentional harm from us. We only kidnapped her for ransom. No one intended to kill her. Alex Xiao hurriedly comforted. Don't cry. Stay calm. I'm currently in charge of the kidnapping case in M-Town. I'm here to consult on some matters, not to reopen the case. If you can help us, it might work in your favor for a reduced sentence. Once Officer Ames heard about this opportunity, he promised to tell everything. He said, I know about that case. There are many reasons for tearing up tickets. For example, the hostage accidentally saw the face of the kidnapper. Family members are not cooperating, or the hostage tried to escape. But I think the kidnapping case in M-Town does not belong to these situations. Alex Xiao was wondering, but Detective Ames suddenly got excited. The kidnapper in the M-Town kidnapping case is a lunatic, able to harm so many children, tear up the ransom after receiving it, and completely disregarding any sense of morality. And why would they kidnap the driver? Having such a strong young man around is definitely a threat. Alex Xiao furrowed his brows. Does that driver Wayne have other secrets on him? Suddenly, Alex Xiao thought of another person. Mountain Gun Reservoir Drowning Case Area's Vincent Yang. At that time, the ransom was discovered in the mine in order to catch him. Vincent asked me, what can I help you with? I have nothing to do with the kidnapping case. Alex said, I want to know. What's the story behind the cave you're hiding in? Vincent Yang let out a long sigh and began to recall the past. In the early years, the caves in the mountains behind M-Town were all contracted to individuals. If you wanted to invest, you could contract a cave and try your luck. If you dig up silver, you can get hundreds of times the return. If you can't dig it out, many people have lost everything they had. That mine on the map is a waste pit. I had no idea about that place. I only went in because you were chasing me. Alex asked who installed the wooden fence. Do you know about that mine? Who has contracted it? Vincent said he was a nouveau riche. When they found him, he was already dead. His family was also ruined. He died a tragic death. Back at our precinct, Alex Xiao reported the information to Penny Chu. I am thinking, could he have been involved in the kidnapping, made money, bought a mine, and then had a falling out with his accomplices, leading to devastation for his family and others? Penny Chu said this is a useful clue. Arrange for people to investigate immediately. Then she blushed slightly and praised Alex Xiao for being smart. Alex Xiao looked very proud. He was just about to show off. He was silenced by Penny Chu covering his mouth. Alex Xiao joked and asked Penny Chu to settle the case by giving himself a bonus. Penny Chu threatened, I can still treat you to a meal. Alex Xiao looked very pleased with himself. A little after 7 in the morning, inside the precinct, Alex Xiao was fast asleep, face down on the table, when he was awakened by the ringing of the telephone. He groggily picked up the phone to answer the call. He immediately sat up straight the next second, eyes wide open. He cursed loudly, threw down the phone, and ran out. When Alex Xiao arrived at the scene of the crime, his mind was already blank. He couldn't believe the reality of the situation. He roared angrily at his colleagues behind him. What are you doing? Lift him and take him to the hospital. The forensic doctor stood silently on the side, tears streaming down his face. Daniel Zahn, trying to control his emotions, advising Alex Xiao to stay calm. Karen was already in tears. Alex Xiao clenched his teeth. Tears still unwillingly fell down, repeatedly saying, It's impossible. Penny Chu isn't dead yet. A good police officer of the people, but now lying in a pool of blood. Alex Xiao can't believe this fact at all. She's not dead yet. What are you all standing still for? Save her! Nikki Wan couldn't stand it anymore. She stepped forward and gave him a big slap in the face. Calm down, Alex Xiao. This slap fully woke up Alex Xiao. Tears streamed down his face. Penny Chu is dead. Director Randall personally came over to command the scene. He called a few people over to take the body back to the police station for examination. It is necessary to investigate the cause of team leader Penny's death. Only Alex Xiao was seen walking towards the body alone. He slowly lifted Penny Chu up. Her thin and weak body. At this moment, it has lost its temperature. The police uniform on her body. It's so dazzling. An intense meeting on Penny Chu's case is being held in the R branch. Around 1 o'clock last night, Penny had an accident on her way home. There are clear brake marks near the car. The car body shows no signs of impact or scraping. It is currently speculated that when Penny passed by the scene, she saw someone on the road. She then braked suddenly and got out of the car to check. She was attacked and robbed of her bag by someone holding a knife. However, Penny Chu did not have a dashcam in her car. The section where the incident occurred is under construction, and the cameras are in a paralyzed state, so there is no footage of the situation at that time. The assailant's attack on Penny Chu was a premeditated robbery. He initially intended to take some money, but accidentally killed her during a dispute. After hearing this, Alex Xiao strongly disagrees with this view and believes that the situation is definitely not that simple. If the assailant was there to rob, upon seeing her in a police uniform, they would have just turned and run. She was stabbed multiple times and covered in blood. Was it really necessary to stab so many times if it was an accidental killing? Why would the criminal intentionally murder her if she was the one planning to kill the criminal? Alex Xiao recalled the last time he met Penny Chu. They were discussing the M-Town kidnapping case and analyzing the lead involving Chandler Chung. Is it because of Chandler Chung? At this point, the forensic pathologist walked out with a puzzled expression, holding the autopsy report. Despite being stabbed multiple times, team leader Penny Chu's fatal wound was the one in the back. It directly pierced the heart, avoiding the bones protecting the heart. Alex Xiao was shocked. The killer must be a professional. Two colleagues who were inspecting the surveillance footage on the side also made a new discovery. A kilometer away from the crime scene where Penny Chu was murdered, a trash can was found with a blood-stained knife inside. The fingerprints on the knife belonged to Harry Ho. I know that person. He has been caught by the police often. He has served time in jail before for robbery and illegal possession of firearms. You should quickly check the surveillance footage in the vicinity of the incident. He can be seen there with Penny Chu's supervisor's bag in his hand. Colleagues clenched their fists and stood up, ready to go seek revenge on Harry Ho for Penny. Alex Xiao looked at the video footage in his hand. The murder weapon was found a kilometer away from the body, although Harry Ho's location was less than a kilometer from the body. But he doesn't have a knife in his hand. And his condition looks like he either drank too much alcohol or used drugs. Penny Chu, after all, comes from a police background. He can't even walk steadily. How could he kill Penny Chu? Speculating like this, it seems there is another killer at the scene. Until late at night, Alex Xiao looked at Penny Chu's photo, reluctant to leave for a long time. The colleagues who went to find Harry Ho have returned. They searched everywhere Harry Ho might be hiding, but they did not find him. If he's not found within 24 hours, it will be difficult to find him. Alex Xiao picked up Penny Chu's photo. He asked if you were checking on Chandler Chung last night. The colleague behind took over the conversation. Yeah, but didn't find anything and went off work. At that time, I noticed that team leader Penny Chu didn't seem to be in a good mental state. I even wanted to drive her home. He started sobbing with his face covered as he spoke. If only I had insisted on driving her back, this wouldn't have happened. Alex Xiao picked up Penny Chu's leash and held it tightly in his hand. He said, I won't let you die in vain. Not only will I investigate the M-Town kidnapping case thoroughly, but I will also catch the murderer who killed you. Then he spoke. I have come up with a way to force Harry Ho out. Which one of you is willing to come with me? The neon lights of the internet cafe shine particularly brightly in the deep night. Yellow-hair psychic kicks open the door and shouts, Big brother, towards Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao is holding a cigarette, standing outside the door with a blank expression. Yellow-hair psychic emerged and saw that there were other people with Alex Xiao. He quickly changed his way of addressing Alex. The woman next to Alex made a move. Harry Ho called her this morning and said he had gotten into trouble. He needed to hide for a while, so he asked for help from someone named Noah G. Yellow-hair psychic is holding a baseball bat, accompanied by a bald guy behind him. Thug is the one who previously went to the police station to defraud the insurance. Alex Xiao asked indifferently. Has her leg been broken? The psychic said. Her mouth is really tough. If her leg is not broken, she won't admit it. The bald guy next to him pressed the police officer, who was monitoring Harry Ho's girlfriend against the car. Alex Xiao threw his cigarette, and said to the bald guy and yellow-hair sidekick, Don't worry, I will get you out of jail as soon as possible. Yellow-hair sidekick patted his chest and said, Brothers go through fire and water, leave the rest to the brothers. In order to extract clues from Harry Ho's girlfriend, Alex Xiao resorted to drastic measures. However, due to his own special identity, he hired Yellow-hair sidekick and others to intervene. Carrying Alex Xiao and others, the police car sped down the highway. Inside the car, everyone was discussing. Harry Ho's girlfriend indeed lied to us, even though they were in contact after the incident. I heard that Noah G has some influence in both the underworld and official circles. His tea restaurant must have some helpers. We have questioned him before, and he insisted he had no connection with Harry Ho. If we visit him today, and he still doesn't confess, what should we do? As they spoke, everyone turned their gaze to Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao just coldly interjected, "Who among you brought a gun?" Nobody moved. Police are handling the case. Alex Xiao and the others burst into the tea restaurant. At this time, there are about a dozen or 20 people in the tea restaurant. The person sitting in the main seat is none other than Noah Ji. Noah said, "I have been dominating the Jianhu for so many years, and I have yet to leave any evidence in the hands of the police." He crosses his legs arrogantly and says disdainfully, "Even your leaders have to be cautious of me. A few small police officers still want to do something to me." Alex Xiao is suppressing the anger in his heart with all his might. He continued saying, "What's wrong, officer? What's the matter?" Alex Xiao rushed forward with a single stride. Without saying a word, Alex directly swung a punch at his face. The punch was powerful. Noah fell backwards onto the ground instantly. Noah said, "You've got a lot of nerve." Alex Xiao pinned him down with one foot and asked, "Where is Harry Ho?" Noah seemed to understand something. He widened his eyes and said, "I've told you before, I don't know." Before he could finish speaking, Alex Xiao slapped him in the face. Noah's men were stunned as they watched their leader being hit. They started to crack their knuckles, ready to step forward. Alex Xiao gestured to his colleague behind him. The colleague understood his intention. Immediately raised the pistol up high. He fired a shot into the air. A huge gunshot sound instantly frightened everyone. No one dared to act rashly again. He said he was capturing the murderer who killed the chief of the detective team. Anyone speaking will be shot on sight for obstructing official duties. Hearing that the police have such a strong background, the hired thugs dare not speak recklessly. No one knows if this Noah really killed someone. In case he really killed someone, then wouldn't they all become accomplices? Alex Xiao lifted his foot. Alex said, "Noah Ji, you are a smart person. Without orders from above, would a few of us junior officers come to you to ask for someone?" Alex then prepared to break his leg. "Since you don't know how to show respect, you might as well be disabled for the rest of your life." Noah Ji got scared and quickly begged for mercy. "Officer, listen to me. Believe me, I don't know where Harry Ho went, but I can help you investigate." Alex Xiao suddenly became violent. He kicked down. Noah Ji shouted, "Don't!" But it was already too late. With a crisp sound of bones breaking, his lower leg snapped entirely. However, Alex Xiao had no intention of stopping. Lifted his foot again, ready to step again. Noah Ji completely collapsed. He cried out in despair that he was at the warehouse on the nth floor. The police officer shouted on the phone, "Captain, the warehouse on the nth floor needs reinforcement. Harry Ho is likely here." Several people quickly arrived at Harry Ho's hiding place. Colleagues were looking at the map on their phones. They said to Alex, "The warehouse on the nth floor is very large. We don't know in which specific room Harry Ho is hiding. We only have 3 people. Should we split up to search or wait for reinforcement?" Alex Xiao was very decisive. "We can't wait. If the news leaks out, we won't be able to catch him." The colleagues replied, "Let's continue searching according to Alex's plan." As they spoke, they took out their phones to look for any clues on the map. At that moment, they heard some movement behind them. Turned their heads to look. He saw Harry Ho. Harry Ho reacted by running off. The 3 people chased after him and shouted as they ran, "Don't run, police." After hearing this, Harry Ho ran even faster. He ran into a warehouse. It was pitch black inside the warehouse. The headlights suddenly turned on. The light was incredibly bright, making the eyes of the 3 people blink for a moment. When they could finally see things clearly, they were surprised to find that the huge warehouse was filled with bunk beds. At this moment, there were more than 40 people sitting, lying down, or standing on the beds. All of them were young men. Alex Xiao cursed under his breath. "It's over. We've arrived at their headquarters. Harry Ho was seen standing in the crowd, saying to the remaining people, "Stop them! They are the police." Everyone picked up their weapons and were about to move forward. The three police officers were not to be trifled with either. They showed no fear at all, clenching their fists tightly. 1 for 1. Alex Xiao strikes with both fists. In the crisis, Alex Xiao shouted loudly, "Go find Harry Ho first!" A colleague responded, and then ran towards the escape direction of Harry Ho. The other colleague was pinned down by the bald guy, gasping angrily with a roar. Everyone has gone crazy. Meanwhile, Alex Xiao is also in danger. Outnumbered and unable to defend oneself, being tightly grabbed and restrained from behind. Alex Xiao pushed back with force towards the iron bed behind. That person then loosened their grip. He had just dealt with one when Green Hair Psychic struck him on the head with a stick. Alex Xiao's forehead was cut open with a long bloody gash. Alex Xiao's eyes were burning with rage, and his eyeballs were bloodshot. Green Hair Psychic still stood there arrogantly provoking. Unaware of the danger he was in, just as he hesitated for a moment, Alex Xiao swiftly snatched the half-stick from his hand. Then, in front of everyone's shocked gazes, Alex Xiao plunged the stick into the shoulder of Green Hair Psychic. Blood spurted out. A wail of agony echoed throughout the entire warehouse. Pay attention. Look at this unmanned motorcycle. It can even drift. Just now, the half-stick was inserted into the Green Hair Psychic's shoulder. It hurt him so much that he screamed in agony. Everyone gasped in shock. He's gone mad. He's killed someone. There's also a fearless long-hair psychic behind him. He's wielding a big cleaver and planning to launch a surprise attack. Alex Xiao used force to pull out the half of a stick from the shoulder of the Green-Hair Psychic. He turned his hand and inserted it into the body of the Long-Hair Psychic. Long-Hair Psychic screamed in pain and fell to the ground. Alex Xiao bent down and picked up Long-Hair Psychic. He also picked up the large machete that had fallen to the ground, preparing to go on a killing spree. The crowd was once again shocked and pale. These psychics were not just ordinary henchmen. Upon seeing the horrific scene before them, their faces turned pale with fear. They all dropped their weapons one after another, clearing a way for Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao swaggered out with a big machete in hand. After mingling with colleagues, continued to search for Harry Ho. A colleague said Harry Ho just went that way. There are no cars nearby, so he can't have gone far. At this time, Alex Xiao noticed a motorcycle beside him. He thought to himself, "I have a universal lock opener. There is no need to wait any longer." He hopped on the motorcycle and sped away. Suddenly, he heard a loud noise. On this silent night, the sound was especially loud. It was a gunshot. Alex Xiao revved the engine and chased after the direction of the gunshot. As he turned into an alley, he suddenly saw a familiar figure. It was a colleague standing in place, holding his leg. Alex Xiao approached and asked, "What happened? Where is Harry Ho?" Recognizing Alex Xiao, the colleague handed him the gun and said, "Hurry, Harry Ho is just ahead." "That guy has a replica gun. He shot me in the leg. Be careful. Don't let him escape." Alex Xiao took the gun. Then step on the gas pedal all the way and chase after him. Harry Ho is running with heavy breathing. He's already running out of energy. He looked back and saw a motorcycle chasing after him. Harry Ho shouted in shock. He turned around and fired a shot behind him. Unfortunately, the lights were too bright. When he aimed to see clearly, something unexpected happened that he couldn't have imagined. Harry Ho was surprised to see that the only thing chasing him was a motorcycle, with no one on it. Harry Ho was quite frightened. Watching the motorcycle rushing towards him, Harry Ho was powerless to fight back. Only to see the motorcycle spin around, knocking Harry Ho to the ground. Harry Ho felt dizzy, and his back was in excruciating pain. However, something even more eerie happened. A metal bucket floated up into the air. Harry Ho screamed in fright. Ghost! Just as Harry Ho was feeling bewildered, the metal bucket crashed down, directly smashing the man's head, causing blood to flow profusely from his throat. After just a few seconds, then I saw a person. It was like a magic trick, appearing out of thin air in front of me, holding a gun, pointed at myself. At this moment, the request system prompts that the time limit has expired. The invisibility cloak trial usage count has been reduced by 1. Within the R Bureau, Alex Xiao, who is sweating profusely, says in pain, Nikki, please be more gentle. As he spoke, he clenched Nikki Wang's clothing tightly, while still gripping his hand in pain. I am a living person, not a corpse. Nikki Wang was using force while speaking gently. It won't work. Without applying some force, how can it be sewn up? Now Alex Xiao grabbed even tighter. This young man is quite fortunate. Restless hands wandering around with nowhere to place them. Nikki Wang continues to sew the needle for him. She said, you should still go to the hospital for a comprehensive examination. Alex Xiao shook his head, indicating that he was fine. At this moment, he noticed Cindy Peng beside him, who looked nervous and was staring at him intently. He asked, Cindy, why have you been following me? Cindy Peng looked serious and said, I have to keep an eye on you so you don't cause trouble for me again. As she finished speaking, a group of people arrived, and Alex Xiao turned to look. It turned out to be the detectives from Team B. After these people came in, they walked up to Alex Xiao and gave him a respectful salute. I represent all the members of our Group B. On behalf of our leader Penny, we thank you for risking your life to catch the culprit. Several people were unable to speak after saying this, holding back tears. Alex Xiao smiled bitterly and said, Don't say that. She is also my friend. Alex Xiao, Cindy Peng suddenly exclaimed. The director wants to see you. In the director's office, Alex Xiao roared. Why was I suspended from my position? The director said to Alex, You have abused your power, hired people to beat up a suspect's girlfriend, obstructed law enforcement officers, and even broke the leg of the tea restaurant boss. There are 12 severely injured people in the warehouse. 5 of them are in the hospital, and 1 person is still in intensive care. Look at what you have done. Do you still have the demeanor of a police officer? Alex Xiao retorted. Director, there were over 40 of them while we were just a few. They were trying to kill us last night. We were just acting in self-defense. The director slammed the table and said sternly, using strong words to cover up the truth. We are police officers. We must consider the consequences of our actions. We cannot act recklessly. Alex Xiao quickly retorted. Before Penny was killed, investigate the murder case again. Her death is very likely related to the murder case. At the scene where she was killed, there is only a video of Harry Ho leaving, but none of his arrival. There was no murder weapon on Harry Ho's hands, yet the murder weapon appeared in a trash can 1 kilometer away. This indicates that he has an accomplice. Behind Harry Ho, there may be another mastermind. This mastermind has a clear understanding of Penny Chu's every move. He is definitely not an ordinary person. He may be from within our police department. I must investigate this case. The chief stood up and roared. Alex Xiao, when handling a case, one must rely on evidence. Do you know that the indictment against you is already on its way? If you hadn't caught Harry Ho, you would have been taken to prison by the police a long time ago. I've been reprimanded by higher-ups several times because of this. By not firing you, I've already done everything I could to help. In an instant, Alex Xiao was furious, unable to control himself any longer. He lifted his foot and kicked the chief's desk. He said, If you don't let me investigate, I'm done. After speaking, he gestured a middle finger at the chief. In a dream, the figure of Penny Chu appeared, and he asked, Penny Chu, what are you doing here? She is still the same as before, wearing a police uniform. She raised her glass and drank on her own. She said, Otherwise, where else could I be? Alex Xiao was stunned. Penny Chu continued speaking. Who knows? Maybe you really want to have this post-case meal with me. Alex Xiao lowered his head. I'm sorry. If it wasn't for me asking you to investigate the murder case involving Chandler Chung, you wouldn't have faced retaliation. She said. How did you know it was because of the murder case? Alex Xiao's eyes were determined. I will definitely catch the person who killed you. No matter how many there are, I will root them all out. Penny Chu looked at Alex Xiao. I trust you. Just 3 simple words. Enough to make this passionate young man cry and wet his pillow. He has made up his mind. He must avenge Penny Chu. Today is the memorial service for team leader Penny Chu. It is arranged to be held at the funeral parlor. After the memorial service, the body will be cremated. As the team leader of the Criminal Investigation Unit, Penny Chu's memorial service is naturally of great scale and very solemn. Not only colleagues and leaders from the branch are present, but also many important officials from the city. The atmosphere inside the funeral parlor is solemn and dignified. Everyone attending is filled with sorrow and sadness. Alex Xiao was near the Ling Shu and happened to overhear Penny Chu's daughter speaking. The child's tender voice asked, Daddy, why hasn't Mommy woken up yet? Please call her to play with me. At that moment, Alex Xiao felt very sad, and it seemed like even the corners of his eyes turned red. He also thought of Penny Chu in his mind, remembering her looks and laughter when she was alive, and her dedication to solving cases. Alex Xiao silently repeated in his heart, Safe travels. Please don't worry. Whatever methods it takes, I must hurry back to the police station. Investigate the murder case. No matter what the truth of your murder is, I will never give up. At this moment, his phone suddenly rang. The phone displayed an unfamiliar number. He answered it. The person on the phone didn't greet him. He directly spoke to Alex Xiao in a commanding tone and said, Alex Xiao, there's a car at 11 o'clock direction for you. You're the only one. Come over quickly. At the memorial service, he received a mysterious phone call. Who exactly was it? Alex Xiao walked to the front of the car with doubts in his mind. As soon as he approached, the car door opened. Director Liam got out of the car. Alex asked the chief, Do you have any instructions? Director Liam didn't reply. He just walked straight to the back seat. Alex Xiao couldn't help but comment, What's going on? It's like meeting a spy. Director Liam opened the car door. In the car, there was a surprising appearance. It was Captain Bucky Jean, who was on sick leave. Alex Xiao widened his eyes and said, Captain Jean, how come it's you? Captain Jean roared, Kid, what are you staring at? Help me get out. Take me to give flowers to Penny Chu. Alex Xiao lifted Captain Jean onto the wheelchair. He didn't understand what had happened to Captain Jean, who had been missing for so long. Just as he was about to voice his question, Captain Jean spoke up. How did Penny Chu die? Just as he was about to voice his question, Captain Jean spoke up. How did Penny Chu die? Discovered that Captain Jin's shoe had unexpectedly fallen to the ground. Alex Xiao stopped the wheelchair and bent down to pick it up. Helped the elderly person put on the shoe again. But he hadn't walked more than a few steps. He angrily found out that the shoe was actually flung off by himself. Can't your legs move? Just told me to look up, didn't you? At this moment, Captain Jean became anxious. He yelled loudly, Alex Xiao, help me put them on. Hurry up. Alex Xiao felt frustrated, but faced with the elderly person sitting in a wheelchair. Where can I muster the strength to do that? He could only angrily put on his shoes for him. At that moment, when he lowered his head, Captain Jean suddenly threw the flowers in his hand on Alex Xiao's head. Alex Xiao couldn't help it anymore. Unexpectedly, Captain Jean pushed him back. He was to return to the car. Alex Xiao was puzzled, but he didn't dare to ask. After pushing him back into the car, Director Liam took Alex Xiao into the nearby small forest. took out an old-fashioned notebook, handed it to Alex Zhao. Captain Jean said, "If he is alone on the return car, this notebook will be cremated with him. If you push him back, this notebook will be given to you." Alex Zhao asked, "What's wrong with him? What is this notebook?" "Osteosarcoma. Both legs amputated. Can live for another 4 months. He doesn't want to trouble anymore." Alex was stunned. He didn't expect Captain Jean to have such a serious illness. Director Liam continued, "Do you know about the tragic case of the Mountain H massacre? It is documented in the files as one of the 5 national-level major cases, all solved by Captain Jean. He couldn't solve the unsolved cases he was personally involved in back then. He believes that you are his successor. He sees his younger self in you." Director Liam turned to Alex Zhao and smiled, saying, "How does it feel, kid? Do you feel the weight on your shoulders?" Alex Zhao raised his mouth. "You old seniors want to lead me by the nose, making me work my heart out for you." Director Liam reached out his hand and said, "If you don't want to take it, you can give the script back to me." Alex Zhao straightened his back and tucked the script into his inner pocket. "I, Alex Zhao, am a detective who is jealous of evil and supports justice. How can we let a murderer roam free?" So he was entrusted by Captain Jean. "But I have been suspended now. Can't do anything. Can you help me get reinstated?" Director Liam asked seriously. "Where is the document for your suspension?" "Without even having the document, it doesn't really count as a suspension. The director just wanted to give you a lesson. Do you know how many bullets he has taken for you? If it wasn't for him insisting on defending you, you would have been in jail by now. That Noah G is still after you. Lately, he has been using all kinds of connections, trying to get you into jail." Alex Zhao gritted his teeth and said firmly, "Bastard. Let me handle this arrogant guy today." Director Liam was shocked. He quickly advised, "We are on the edge now. Don't stir up trouble." Alex Zhao waved his hand. "Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. He will surely withdraw the lawsuit obediently. After I finish these 2 big tasks, I will fulfill the old man's wish. Another beauty has arrived. Guess who it is? I will tell you in a while." Inside tea restaurant that day, Alex Zhao sat firmly in the Grandmaster's chair. He was playing with a box of exquisite tea leaves in his hand. He asked, "Noah, are these tea leaves expensive? I want to buy a box to present to our director. Do you think it's a good idea?" Noah G fiercely slammed his cane and gritted his teeth, saying, "Alex, you're quite brave to come here on your own." Alex Zhao kept playing with the tea leaves. "I'm here to make friends and turn hostility into friendship. How about I treat you to a meal?" Noah G clenched his cane tightly and said fiercely, "Let me break your legs now. If you kneel down and apologize to me, I will consider it." Alex Zhao slammed the tea box onto the table and said fiercely, "There's no room for negotiation." After saying that, Noah G clearly felt a wave of hostility. He unconsciously took a few steps back. Just then, Noah G's phone rang. After answering it, his face changed instantly. It turned out someone informed him that the wholesale stall was checked by the police. They claimed illegal items were found in the fish. The sidekick beside him also exclaimed, "The boss's nightclub has been sealed off by the police. They said it was harboring criminals." Noah G quickly broke out in a sweat on his head. He glared fiercely at Alex Zhao and said, "Don't think I'll be afraid of you just because of this. I have plenty of money and don't care about these few shops." Alex Zhao stood up and walked to Noah G, poking his forehead. He said, "You better be honest. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences." After saying that, he swaggered away with the box of tea leaves. Noah G looked puzzled. "Has he gone crazy?" a sidekick reminded. "The boss paid over 1,000 for that box of tea leaves." The tea restaurant was suddenly filled with curses. That evening, Noah G had dinner at a restaurant. The phone suddenly rang. After answering it, Alex Zhao's voice came through. Alex reminded Noah, Don't forget that you are my subordinate. Noah G is furious when he hears Alex Xiao's voice. He says, Alex, you wait and see how I will deal with you for stealing my tea leaves. Alex replies, Don't think you are so high class. There are 2 men and 1 woman in front of you. They are all dressed as VIPs. Noah G quickly looked around. In his heart, he wondered, why is he monitoring me? He couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he tried. Alex Xiao had planted an invisible monitor on his forehead. Alex said, Don't bother looking, it's on you. The one in the checkered shirt must be the judge. The woman with glasses looks familiar. She's from the police academy. The man with the stubble is a lawyer. Noah G was shocked and started sweating profusely. He stood up and left the room. He ran into the restroom. Completely stripped. Alex Xiao continued speaking. Noah wouldn't strip completely to look for the monitor, would he? Your skin is quite fair. There is a birthmark near your belly button. Noah G is going crazy. He shouted, Shut up! Suddenly, he thought it was his phone that exposed him. Then he turned off the phone. Noah finally felt a sense of quiet. He returned home after dinner. A woman leaned seductively against the doorway and asked him, You're back? She approached and charmingly said, You know to come back so late. Suddenly, the woman's phone rang. After answering the call, she threw it to Noah G. Alex Xiao's voice came again. He said, You think it's fine if you turn off your phone? Your wife looks good. Noah G completely broke down. He fiercely threw the phone to the ground. In the director's office, Alex Xiao pushed the tea in front of Director Zhou and said, I misunderstood you before. I broke your cup. This is compensation for you. Now Noah G has withdrawn the complaint against me. Can I come back to work now? Director Zhou looked helpless. Why are you always so confident and arrogant? Alex Xiao stood up straight. Seriously said, I, Alex Xiao, will correct my mistakes. I will be grateful and remember your kindness. Director Zhou quickly waved his hand and said, Don't give me this. The new team leader from the serious crime unit has arrived. You should get to know each other. At that moment, a knocking sound was heard. Alex Xiao turned his head in confusion and asked, Who is it in the end? A policewoman in a neat uniform walked in briskly. She saluted smartly and said, Officer Ellen reporting for duty. Alex Xiao was shocked with his jaw dropping to the side. The 2 happy enemies started pinching each other as soon as they met. Because the chief is present, the 2 could only exchange electric sparks with their eyes. Team leader Ellen has come to our office to take over as the leader of Team B. Director Zhou's voice broke the awkward silence. Busy introducing Alex Xiao to Ellen for acquaintance. Make sure you 2 cooperate well in the future. Alex Xiao politely reached out his hand. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Ellen, though unhappy in her heart, abided by etiquette. She still gently shook hands with Alex Xiao. Director Zhou said, Alex Xiao, take team leader Ellen to the Serious Cases Division and introduce her to everyone. After coming out, Ellen didn't say a word and left in a hurry, wanting to shake off Alex Xiao. This jinx. Alex Xiao followed behind with a smug look on his face. He didn't expect Ellen to become his boss. Everything feels less real to him. How about putting a hidden camera on her as well? See where she lives. Does she have a boyfriend? After a few seconds of distraction, he caught up with her. He asked Ellen how she was doing as the captain of the U Sub-Bureau. Why did you come to our branch to be a team leader? Did you cause trouble over there? Hearing what Alex Xiao said, Ellen just wanted to cover her ears. Thinking about him forcibly kissing her made her both embarrassed and angry. Ellen felt that Alex forcibly kissing her was very rude. However, Alex shamelessly asked, Could it be that you came over for me? Ellen's face instantly turned bright red. She stopped in her tracks, picked up her leg, and kicked towards Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao looked at the danger in front of him. It was a familiar feeling. Colleagues in the office are discussing the case. there was only a loud bang. The two of them peeked out upon hearing the noise. Only saw Alex Xiao being kicked by a woman. He curled up pitifully under the woman's legs. Seeing the colleagues who were watching, Alex Xiao pointed awkwardly at his head and said, "This is the new team leader of Group B. Let's all get to know each other." Alex Xiao arrived at the detention center of the R branch. He was ready to interrogate Harry Ho. If Chandler Chung doesn't lead anywhere, I can only start with Penny Chu's case. Alex Xiao thought to himself. This time, I'll use a lie detector during the interrogation. At this time, he heard the staff notify him. Harry Ho is being interrogated by colleagues from the R Bureau. The interrogation application form prominently displays the name Ellen. It seems they have connected the dots again. After interrogating Harry Ho, Ellen walked out of the interrogation room. Alex asked, "You haven't had lunch, have you? I've ordered takeout. Let's eat together." Alex Xiao was seen holding a pizza and bringing it towards his mouth. Ellen glared fiercely at him and said, "You're following me." She said that and turned around to leave. Alex Xiao stopped her and with a confident look said, "Just now interrogating Harry Ho probably wasn't useful. I know best the kind of drug addict he is. It's impossible for someone who is not in their right mind to kill members of the serious crime unit. Penny Chu's death is too strange." Their close proximity made Ellen blush, and she asked, "What do you want?" Alex Xiao smiled and said, "Remember when we investigated Philip Liu?" Ellen recalled the amazing performance of Alex Xiao when he questioned Philip Liu. Feeling a bit shaken, Alex Xiao saw the situation and handed over the pizza, saying, "Let's eat something first. Our second collaboration is about to begin." Harry Ho said, "Officer, have I finished or not? I said everything I need to say. I really can't remember anything." Harry Ho sat in the interrogation room, looking impatient. He became even angrier after seeing Ellen. Harry said, "That B*TCH dared to hit me. Wait for me to go back to the police station and file a complaint against you." After hearing this, Ellen stood up and turned off the camera. She walked up to Harry and asked, "Did the wound come undone again?" Harry shook his head in confusion and said, "No, it didn't." Just as Harry looked up, Ellen threw a punch towards his head. Alex Xiao had already realized that something was wrong, and quickly rushed over to intercept Ellen. Harry Ho was suddenly so frightened that his face turned pale, and he exclaimed in shock, "Are you going to torture me for a confession? I want to speak to a lawyer." Alex Xiao was trying to hold back Ellen while telling Harry Ho to shut up. "Can't you see I'm struggling to hold her back?" Unexpectedly, Harry Ho, who didn't know any better, said, "I know you. You're no good person. You intentionally broke my leg. I will definitely bring this up in court." Upon hearing this, Alex Xiao immediately had Ellen go beat him up. Ellen instantly rushed over. Shortly after, a burst of screams could be heard. Harry Ho, after being beaten, became much more honest. They officially started today's interrogation. Alex said, "Harry Ho, we are here for the truth. If you didn't commit the murder, confess it anyway. Maybe we can help you." Harry Ho said that he took some drugs that night. He is not sure if he committed the murder. Alex Xiao smiled and said, "Do you remember how you were caught by me?" Harry Ho recalled the magical scene of that night. Alex Xiao's nonsense didn't even need a draft. He spoke fluently with ease. "That's right, you were hypnotized by me that night. So you couldn't see people, only cars." Ellen rolled her eyes after hearing this. Harry Ho was a bit confused. He thought to himself, could he really know the truth? Alex Xiao saw him wavering and took out a lie detector test to continue, saying, "I will ask you some questions. You just need to answer yes or no." Harry Ho thought that if he had not killed anyone, he might be able to help me. Just agreed to cooperate with Alex and asked, "Did you kill Penny Chu?" Harry said no. The lie detector lit up a green light. Alex thought, "Indeed, it was not him." Alex asked, "Do you know who killed Penny Chu?" Harry said no. The lie detector lit up a green light. Alex thought to himself, "It appears he doesn't even count as an accomplice. He's just being used." Alex Xiao thought to himself, "Even if he is not aware, the lie detector can still reveal the truth." Alex asked Harry Ho if Penny Chu's death is related to the kidnapping case in M-Town. Harry Ho looked puzzled after hearing this. The lie detector is also activated to remind not to ask questions unrelated to the subject being tested. Alex Xiao thought to himself that it seems like this lie detector also has limitations. In this way, he can't ask anything related to the kidnapping case in M-Town at all. But we can use it to find out who killed Penny Chu. Next, we'll have to make a blind guess. A red light means guessing incorrectly. A green light means guessing correctly. Alex asked if the person who murdered Penny Chu acted alone. Harry said yes. The lie detector lit up with a red light. Alex asked if it was a conspiracy between two people. Harry said yes. The lie detector lit up with a red light. Alex asked about 3 people. The lie detector lit up with a red light. Alex asked about 5 people. The lie detector lit up with a red light. Alex asked if there were more than 10 people involved in plotting against Penny Chu. The green light lit up. More than 10 people actually want to harm her. Why? What did Penny Chu do to make so many people target her? Ellen noticed that he didn't seem right. She asked him if he was okay. "I already know the answer. Let's go." Ellen looked puzzled and asked Alex Xiao, "What exactly did you ask?" "Don't beat around the bush. The questions you just asked were very random. Could it be that you didn't ask anything at all?" Alex Xiao sneered and said, "Our goals are different. I am interrogating Harry Ho for the Penny Chu case. I also want to get information about the M-Town kidnapping case from him." "But your purpose in coming to the R Bureau, it's not just a simple investigation into Penny Chu's death, right? I think we should be more straightforward with each other. Can you tell me the truth now?" Ellen seemed to understand what Alex Xiao meant. She suddenly fell silent. When you have a colleague like this by your side, will you still be able to focus on work? At this moment, there is a white sedan parked on the street. Ellen is holding her phone. She is carefully scanning Alex Xiao. Alex Xiao says, "There are no listening devices on me." Ellen puts away her phone and asks, "How did you know I have something to hide from you?" Alex Xiao replied without hesitation, "You suddenly came to our office for work. On the first day, you went to find Harry Ho. It's obvious that you have your own purpose." Ellen stared at Alex Xiao in front of her, lost in thought. Hopefully, I didn't misjudge the person. Then she slowly spoke. "Have you made up your mind, Alex Xiao? From the moment I tell you this, we are bound together. We might end up like Penny Chu." Alex reacted quickly. He quickly covered Ellen's mouth and said, "Then I won't listen anymore. I have a lot of things at hand. I don't want to get involved in more trouble." Ellen shook off Alex's hand. Penny Chu arrived at Department R long before, to investigate a special case, more dangerous than a homicide. Speaking, he grabbed Alex Xiao's collar. "She died because of that case. I was sent by the higher authorities to secretly investigate the truth of all this. It's too late if you don't want to know. Blame your brain for being too clever. You brought this upon yourself. It's good to have your help. Let's expose the mole at our bureau together." Alex Xiao looked reluctant and said, "Aren't you afraid that I might be the mole?" She said, "I've already checked your background thoroughly. It's as clean as can be." Alex Xiao smirked evilly and said, "This is such a dangerous matter. You have to give me some benefits. A little motivation will do." Ellen helplessly thought, "This kid still thinks of good things at a time like this." She then thought it over. She nodded in agreement. "If you help me get the task done, I can consider going on a date with you." Alex Xiao immediately sat up straight. His face full of dissatisfaction, he said, "Taking such a big risk just to exchange for one date? At the very least, you have to spend a night with me." Ellen threw a punch after hearing that. Immediately, The car was filled only with Alex Xiao's screams of agony. Alex arrived at the home of an old miner below the mine shaft. According to the old miner, Chandler Chung was the #1 tycoon in Mountain District Q. He monopolized the entire construction material market. However, when the market took a downturn, his factories closed down. He owed a huge amount of debt. His wife couldn't bear the debt collectors and committed suicide by hanging. His eldest daughter died in a car accident. His youngest son, Joshua Chung, went to prison for causing harm to others. Alex Xiao recalled that Vincent Yang also said that this Chandler Chung, although he was once a wealthy man in his youth, ended up with a ruined family and tragic outcome in the end. He then called Daniel Zahn, asking him to help investigate the information of the people around Chandler Chung, including those who have passed away. As soon as he hung up, Ellen called him. The two met up like secret agents in a remote alleyway. Ellen mysteriously took out something and put it on Alex Xiao's wrist. He asked, "What is this?" The bickering couple are partnering up again. What kind of sparks will fly this time? Just now, Ellen asked Alex Xiao out. Take out a watch and put it on Alex Xiao's wrist. Ellen called it an encrypted phone. It can only make and receive calls. It has an automatic location function for your safety. Please try not to be separated from it for 24 hours if possible. I heard that you went to investigate the kidnapping case in M-Town by yourself today, Alex Xiao said. I always feel that Chandler Chung knew the kidnappers involved in the M-Town kidnapping case before he died. Why bury all the bodies in Chandler Chang's mine? The killer must be familiar with the mine. Maybe the killer worked under him before. The killer may be familiar with explosives. Perhaps the killer was once very poor, but became wealthy after receiving ransom for the murder case. Ellen has some doubts. She said, Are you still investigating the Chandler Chung line? Didn't everyone in your team give up on it? He didn't need to be involved in the kidnapping. Alex Xiao said with a solemn look. I think Penny Chu's death was too coincidental. Why did she happen to be killed when we were investigating Chandler Chung? Do you really believe there is no connection between the two? Moreover, Chandler is the only person I know who is related to the mine where the body was found. We just need to investigate his relationships, and we will definitely find something out. Ellen looked at the determined Alex Xiao thoughtfully. Then she spoke slowly. Okay, tomorrow I will request Captain's approval. Let you and me partner up. Let's go investigate that Chandler Chung together, so that you won't wander around aimlessly from your group. Today, your group leader went to report on you, saying that you didn't complete the tasks explained by him properly. At this time, Alex Xiao is getting close to Ellen's warmth. Shall we two go alone? That would be great. Later, he put his arm around Ellen and said, Captain Mao and the others went to investigate the parents of the children who were victims. It was meaningless. I trust you more. Ellen punched him in the back of his head after hearing that and said, Nonsense. On the way back, Ellen's mother called. How is the new job, my darling daughter? Ellen pouted and talked to her mom about the current situation. She said she met the person she least wanted to see in the new environment. Ellen smiled, saying, But after today, he will become my loyal follower, obedient to my every word. He laughed out loud when he said this. On the other side, Alex Xiao was grinding his teeth in anger. In the afternoon, he secretly placed a hidden bug on her. At this moment, all her conversations were heard by Alex Xiao. If you have an invisible bug, where would you put it? Our detective Alex Xiao actually put it on the beautiful female colleague. That day, he overheard her talking to her mother on the phone. Her mother said, If you feel that the subordinates in the bureau are not cooperating, I will transfer all your original subordinates to the bureau. Ellen begged, Please don't do this. Last time, the deputy director was scolded by me, and the issue has already been resolved. You insisted on transferring him away. If you do this, no colleague will be willing to be friends with me in the future. Hearing this, Alex was frightened. He thought to himself, The deputy director was transferred because he made inappropriate advances towards Ellen. And I kissed Ellen. What kind of background does Ellen and her mother have? I really can't afford to provoke them. Later on, he heard the sound of gurgling water, and Ellen humming a cheerful tune. Is she taking a bath? In an instant, Alex imagined her taking a bath. Alex Xiao thought, why did I only install a bug? Should have installed a camera. Can't see anything. It's driving me crazy. After Ellen finished washing up, she pushed open the door. She was only wrapped in a thin bath towel. Suddenly, she felt like there was something in front of her. She reached out and grabbed it. Alex Xiao appeared before her. There was a smirk on his face. This invisibility cloak isn't working. Saying this, he roughly pulled away the only remaining bath towel that covered Ellen. He pushed her to the ground. Ellen, just behave obediently tonight. Just as he was about to start. But he found that he couldn't take off his clothes. He was awakened by a burst of bird calls. Alex Xiao clenched his fists in frustration. Can't even satisfy me in my dreams. After going to work, the two of them arrived at the residence of the suspect Brian Ju. According to his grandson, Chandler Chung, after buying the mine, Brian followed suit. But he doesn't live here now. If you want to find him, you can only go to City B. The two have always suspected that the kidnapper is wealthy. This Brian Ju is indeed wealthy. The villa he bought is in the best location in town. Moreover, he is a fellow villager with Chandler Chung. Before taking over the mining area, he worked in the mining area. He was also the head of the exploration team. He is familiar with blasting techniques, which matches the deductions made in the kidnapping case in town. Daniel Zahn reported on the phone that Brian Ju established his own company many years ago. He is now doing well in business in City B. He is indeed a suspect. A wealthy person like him would never go back to the mine to look for the lost gold to sell. Ellen had some doubts, and she asked, there's no mention of Brian Ju's name in the police records. How did you find him? Alex said that the information in the records is of people previously checked by the detectives near the mine. I think the reason the hostage died in Chandler Cheng's mine is that the kidnapper must be familiar with the mine. It is very likely that he has worked for Chandler Cheng before, and has been working there all along. So starting from Chandler Cheng's social relationships, there will definitely be gains. Analyzing it, Chandler Cheng's wife committed suicide by hanging, his eldest daughter died in a car accident, and his youngest son Joshua Chung ended up in prison due to causing harm to others. Can you check on his son? After all, he is closest to him. Alex Xiao's face turned red when he heard the word closest. He remembered the dream from last night. His hand rested on Ellen's car door. He said, I dreamt about you last night. Ellen looked at Alex Xiao with a suspicious look and asked, what was I doing in the dream? This slender woman is taking a bath at home. She pushed open the door and found a young man standing in her living room out of nowhere. He was seen pulling the towel off the woman and was about to do something inappropriate. Dreams like this left Alex Xiao wanting more. And at this moment, the woman is beside Alex Xiao. He is gradually getting closer to Ellen, slowly recounting the dream he had last night. The scene reappeared in his mind. Dreamed of you taking a shower. Ellen looked at Alex Xiao with a lewd expression. She deliberately teased by pulling up his hem. She said, really? Besides taking a shower, what else did you dream about? Suddenly, her hand grabbed his belly and twisted it into a pretzel. Alex Xiao screamed in pain. He broke free, turned, and ran. He said, why are you hitting me again? I didn't do anything in my dream. Ellen chased after him relentlessly from behind. She said, Alex Xiao, I think you are asking for trouble. In the interrogation room, the two found Chandler Cheng's son, Joshua Chung. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempted murder for stabbing businessman Bert Hao multiple times in a public place. Alex Xiao frowned. Bert Hao is the famous CEO of the R Group. The news of his stabbing created a big stir at the time. I remember Sam Su also investigated companies, including the R Group. At this point, Joshua Chung spoke up and said that Bert Howe is just a bastard. He caused our whole family to be destroyed. Joshua Chung began to tell the story of the incident. Bert Howe also started his career in building materials. But once his business grew, he began to steal clients from my father. He would rather lose money himself than let our family thrive. He forced my father's business to close. He didn't stop there. He sent creditors to our house every few days to harass and even physically assault us. They smashed things and hired people to rape my sister. My sister's car accident was definitely not an accident. It was definitely him. Later, my father fell seriously ill. My mother hanged herself and committed suicide. The speaker sounded agitated. I just want to die with him. Killing him is the only way to relieve the hatred in my heart. Alex Xiao seems to have caught on to something. He hurriedly spoke and asked, "When did Bert Howe rise to power? Was his rise somewhat sudden?" At his question, Ellen also instantly understood, looking at Alex Xiao with incredulous eyes. Joshua Chung said helplessly, "It seems to be around 95. Anyway, it feels very sudden to me." As soon as he emerged, he opened many building material markets in one breath, challenging our family. My dad seemed to have conflicting with him, but I can't remember the specifics. After interrogating them, both returned to the police station office. Alex Xiao walked to the analysis board. Bert Howe made his start. It's the 5th year after the major kidnapping and murder case in M-Town. Where did he get the money to make a start? Could it be the ransom from the M-Town kidnapping case? Ellen looked at the information in her hand. Some people speculate that Bert Howe's startup capital came from usury. Chandler Chung is known to have been involved in usury in the past. Daniel Zahn took over the conversation, saying that Bert Howe and Brian Ju know each other. You see, Bert Howe served in the military when he was young and then became a police officer after demobilization. Not long after that, he started his own business. Now he is thriving in many fields such as real estate, foreign trade, and logistics. When they were in the military, they were comrades. In the early days, Brian Ju worked for Bert Howe. Later, he started his own company. The other person with red hair is Dallas Gao. M-Town is a local. He only has one hospitalization record, which was at a mental hospital. In the diagnosis document, there is a family member's signature, which is Amy Gao. Amy Gao. Alex Xiao seems to have figured something out. Amy Gao is the mother of one of the murdered children. Everyone was shocked. Karen continued. Dallas Gao died of a heart attack in a mental hospital 6 years ago. The Gao family is in the herbal medicine business. They mostly live in the M-Peak area. The sentence was left unfinished. Alex Xiao exclaimed, M-Peak area? Isn't that the cliff where the kidnappers arranged for family members to be thrown off after receiving the ransom? As soon as this was said, Ellen was so excited that she couldn't close her mouth. The three of them were all here. All the clues are connected now. Dallas Gao is familiar with the terrain near the cliff, making it convenient to escape and evade police pursuit. Brian Ju is familiar with the mine. All the hostages were killed by his explosives. Bert Howe has been a former cop and is familiar with police tactics. He can remove the tracking device from the ransom. Karen analyzed that Dallas Gao is the nephew's uncle. How could he kidnap his own nephew and even tear the ticket? Perhaps it's because of this that he went crazy. Ellen immediately assigned tasks. Bob Zhang, you go to the mental hospital and Amy Gao's house. Find out about Dallas Gao's situation. Daniel Zahn and Benny Lee, you investigate whether the three of them have any conflicts with Chandler Chung. The several of them began working immediately. Ellen then turned her attention to Alex Xiao. It seems like there is something to say. She called Alex Xiao aside. Alex Xiao asked with a smirk. What's up, team leader Ellen? She replied. I want to talk to you about important matters and your lazy attitude. Do you want a punch from me? Alex Xiao held her hand and said, No, don't. It hurts when you hit me. How about we make a date for one night? I'll hit you on the soft spot. With that, he placed her hand on his own buttocks. Ellen took the opportunity to give a twist. Looking at Alex Xiao with a shy face, she said, "Okay, let's do it tonight." Pay attention to this guy who is flirting with his female colleague. I didn't expect to get beaten. He was left with a lingering pain in his buttocks from her twisting. He secretly cursed in his heart that this woman was really ruthless. Ellen was still on the side analyzing the case by herself. I'm worried that even if the three of them are real kidnappers, we would be powerless against them. He noticed Alex Xiao's absent-minded look as he spoke. A folding fan flew over and hit him. His bottom was injured again. She asked, "Do you think what I said is right?" Alex Xiao straightened up. "I will never dare to be lazy again," he said. "Yes, now everything is just our speculation without evidence. Besides, Bert Howe is not someone who just sits around. With his influence, he will definitely hire the best lawyer." Ellen listened and tapped her fan again. She said, "So we can't be too passive. We need to find a way to take the initiative and force them a little. Maybe they will reveal a flaw." Alex Xiao grabbed Ellen's hand holding the fan and said, "So Ellen, as the team leader, what are your clever ideas?" She said, "I remember that Bert Howe has a precious son. Brian Ju also has a grandson. Let's kidnap them." Alex Xiao looked at the woman in front of him, who looked like a female thug. "He doesn't know what to say." She said, "You also need to come up with some ideas. Come find me after you've thought it through." She finished speaking, smiled, and left. Alex Xiao sat there stunned. He wondered if Ellen had gone crazy. Why was she always thinking of such shady tricks? But why would Dallas Gao kidnap his own nephew? If it was as initially thought, then that kidnapping was an accident. Dallas Gao might not have known that he was kidnapping his own nephew. Maybe they were just planning a robbery. Or maybe steal a car. After they intercepted Wayne's van, they found out there were 5 elementary school students in the vehicle. Dallas Gao's nephew was also among them. Afraid of being exposed, they had no choice but to rob and hide both the people and the car. After finding out that these kids all came from wealthy families, they decided to call their relatives for ransom. Although the two had conflicts before, they realized that there was no turning back now that things had come to this point. So they got the ransom as they wished. However, they were worried that Dallas Gao's nephew would go back and tell the adults, so they had no choice but to tear up the ticket. Dallas Gao could not bear the pain of killing his nephew and ended up in a mental hospital. Bert Howe and Brian Ju, on the other hand, used the ransom to do business, and their business grew bigger and bigger. They became famous businessmen. Suddenly, Alex Xiao was hit by a strong force, and his ears screamed in pain. "Alex, don't fall asleep." The colleague behind widened her eyes. How dare she even pull the tiger's ears? Alex is known for his bad temper. Alex Xiao grabbed the hand that was pinching his own ear, about to get angry. Raising his head, he saw Ellen getting angry. "The whole team worked all night, but you are here sleeping soundly," he said. "So, you're the team leader, Ellen?" "Haha, may I ask what you have to say?" Alex Xiao's unusually mild behavior surprised everyone. Team leader Ellen is like an animal tamer, huh? But they don't know the pain in Alex Xiao's heart. Her mysterious mother. Make a move with her connections. Then send him away, and it's done. In the eyes of colleagues, they still appear quite well matched. Inside a large hotel, the engagement ceremony of Alex Xiao's ex-girlfriend Jennifer Yao and Jay Zong is taking place. "You made it when I called you. I was worried you wouldn't have time to come," she said as she linked arms with Alex Xiao. He said, "You made me the godfather of the child. I definitely have to come." Is my godson still in the making? This statement made Jennifer Yao blush. She is just engaged now. It's too early to talk about marriage. At this moment, a greeting was heard, only to see a middle-aged man walking over. Alex Xiao widened his eyes in shock. Isn't this person Bert Hao? As he walked over, Alex recognized him immediately. Bert Hao said, I've set my heart on your wife. Name your price. At this point, his disappointed son caught up from behind and said, Dad, I'll handle my own affairs. Bert Hao said, By the time you solve your own problems, the woman you're interested in will have already run off with someone else. Alex Xiao finally understood. So, his son has set his sights on Jennifer Yao. Now he's treating me as Jennifer Yao's fiancé. Well, then watch me perform. Alex Xiao stepped forward and said, All right, I'm not greedy either. 8 million it is. Jennifer Yao huffily took Alex Xiao's arm and said, Stop messing around. Are you trying to sell me off? The other side of the corporate uncle smirked triumphantly. See that? That's right. You can sell off your woman for 8 million, he said, taking out a check. And he won't even know. This is exactly Alex Xiao's plan coming to light. He muttered as the chairman of the R group. Isn't it shameful to do such immoral things like buying women? Bert Hao said calmly. Watch your words, young man. It's as easy to deal with you as to deal with a cockroach. Take the money and leave. Don't stir up trouble for yourself. Alex said, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Officer Alex Xiao from the R Sub-Bureau. I am currently in charge of investigating the major kidnapping case in M-Town 26 years ago. I don't dare to accept this money. If I take dirty money and get punished, how can I continue investigating Chandler Chung, Brian Zhu, and Dallas Gao? Bert Hao's expression changed instantly. Wait and see, he said, then turned around and walked away. Alex Xiao's hand holding the invisible bug stopped in midair. He hadn't had a chance to plant it yet. Who is this handsome guy? Jennifer, why didn't you introduce him to me? Just heard a voice. He felt a force of gravity rushing towards him. Alex Xiao stared at the busted beauty in front of him. Instead of feeling pleased, he cursed internally. The bug was forced to be planted on this irrelevant woman. Luckily, a camera was just planted on Bert Hao, so even if we can't hear the sound, at least we can see the video. The woman also gradually calmed down. She picked up the phone that she had just knocked down and handed it apologetically to Bert Hao's son. Wait, look at the wallpaper on the phone screen. Alex Xiao snatched the phone away. Alex Xiao pointed to the woman on the screen and asked, Who is this? What happened to her? She said, This is my mom. Alex Xiao stared at the phone in disbelief. Why does this person look exactly like the composite image of 33-year-old Shirley Liang put together by the police earlier? Even the location of the mole is the same. So, I continued to ask about her. Where is she now? She said that she passed away when I was 1 year old. Why are you asking about this? Alex Xiao frowned. He couldn't understand the connection between Shirley Liang and his mother. Inside the office building of the R Group, Bert Hao skillfully enters the office password. Every move of his was observed by Alex Xiao, who casually noted down the door lock password. Then, he was seen constantly making phone calls. Alex Xiao was getting anxious on this end, unable to hear what he was saying at all. Just saw him throw the cup to the ground. His body kept trembling. Pulling open the drawer of the table as if looking for something. What is he doing? A handgun caught his eye. Is he going to commit suicide or is he going to kill someone? He hid the handgun behind his back, slowly opening the secret room behind the bookcase. He walked briskly towards it. Very quickly. A long-haired woman appeared on the bed in the spotlight. Alex Xiao became excited. This Bert Hao was actually concealing an affair in the luxurious office. But when he saw the woman's face clearly, he instantly felt a chill running from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. This woman is Shirley Liang, who has been missing for 26 years. This bastard actually hid her here. Could he be planning to kill Shirley Liang? Do you know what Stockholm Syndrome is? In the dead of night, Alex Xiao drove quickly on the road, watching the surveillance footage of Bert Hao and Shirley Liang. There is no evidence in the kidnapping case in M-Town. We have no way to hold Bert Hao. Shirley Liang was the only hostage who survived back then. She is the only evidence. It would be a disaster if Bert Hao is killed and the evidence destroyed. Who called him just now? Who made him suddenly want to kill? Alex Xiao triggers a brainstorm. Finally locked Brian Ju as his family member. Tell him that the police have been here. There is currently no evidence to prove that she is Shirley Liang. The police cannot send support over. It's a bit difficult with just me. Alex Xiao frowned. In a moment of urgency, he noticed the watch on his wrist. Remember, Ellen once said that this thing can be used to locate. So a plan arose in his mind. At this time, Ellen was still working late in the office. The phone rang. Just as it was answered, she heard Alex Xiao's anxious voice. Team Leader Ellen, I found Shirley Liang. Quickly, I heard a crash shortly after. Who are you? Let go quickly. Then, there was no more sound. On the phone, Ellen sounds tense, calling out Alex's name. But Alex did not respond. And all of this is just a play performed by Alex Xiao. Just then, he took out his invisibility cloak and walked towards the building. He prayed in his heart that Ellen could find someone to help him. Outside Bert Hao's building, there were 2 security guards on duty. Suddenly, the automatic door opened. The 2 of them were frightened and broke out in a cold sweat. They thought it was a ghost. After Alex Xiao safely entered through the main gate, he found someone still standing guard at the office door. The invisibility cloak only works for 5 minutes. Thinking of other methods might be too late. We have to go in hard. Alex Xiao put all his strength into it. He punched towards one of them. The other person was too slow to react. He had no idea what was going on. His companion fell down. Suddenly, a force of gravity struck him as well. After solving the 2 people's issues, Alex Xiao entered according to the password to the door lock in his memory. The door opened and the invisibility cloak also lost its effect. Alex Xiao didn't care about that anymore. He strode quickly towards the inside. At this time, Shirley Liang had already skillfully cleaned herself up. She walked out of the bathroom, thinking she was going to sleep with Bert again. She could never have imagined it would be a fatal shot. Just as Bert Hao was about to act, Alex Xiao arrived in time. He kicked over and said he wanted to kill you to keep you quiet. You're finished. In just a few moves, he subdued Bert Hao underneath him. Suddenly, a loud noise rang out. A burst of blood spattered from Alex Xiao's shoulder. He twisted his head to look back as he fell. Shirley Liang, wrapped in a bathrobe, was holding Bert Hao's pistol. She pointed the gun at herself. This woman was illegally imprisoned by a wealthy man for a period of 26 years. Today, finally someone came to rescue her from this dire situation. Unexpectedly, she ended up shooting at the hero who came to save her. Alex Xiao said in confusion, I came to save you. Has Bert Hao brainwashed you, woman? He watched as Shirley Liang continued to aim her gun at Alex Xiao, unfazed. Behind them, Bert Hao's eyes widened as he roared in anger. Shirley Liang was so scared that she was trembling when someone shot and killed him. He continued to say, Give me the gun! Bert Hao sprang up from the ground to snatch the gun from Shirley Liang. The bastard's eyes showed a murderous intent. At that moment, he didn't want to kill Alex Xiao. Instead, he wanted to kill the only witness, Shirley Liang. If Shirley Liang dies, there will truly be no witness left. Alex Xiao gritted his teeth against the intense pain in his shoulder. He stood up and walked towards Bert Hao. Fortunately, the fired gunshots hit the ceiling. Shirley Liang was pinned down to the ground. Bert Hao saw the situation was bad and ran away. Alex Xiao was afraid that Shirley Liang was in danger. He asked, Are you okay? Shirley Liang did not reply, only writhing in pain. Alex Xiao helped her up and found signs of life. She should be fine. He took off his jacket and covered her with it to keep her warm in her light clothing. He got up and chased after Bert Howe in the direction he was escaping. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. Bert Howe flew several meters away and fell backwards. Alex Xiao was shocked and stood in place. Looked towards the doorway. It was not someone else who came. It was their good partner Ellen. In an instant, Alex Xiao's confidence soared. He was about to say hello. Ellen swiftly pounced over. Alex Xiao dodged. Before the words fell, a series of gunshots were heard. Alex Xiao was pressed down by the pounced Ellen. He didn't have time to enjoy it yet. Just then, Bert Howe's bodyguard rushed in. Alex Xiao turned around and pressed Ellen underneath him. He leaned close to her ear and gently whispered, "Lie still, don't move." Turned his head and took out the invisible bulletproof vest, then walked towards the door. The gunman fired frantically at Alex Xiao. However, he emerged unscathed. The gunman was very surprised. What's going on with this guy? There was no response when the gun was fired at him. In an instant, Alex Xiao had already walked up to him. Grabbing two heads, he smashed them together. Ellen stood up nervously from the ground. "Grabbing Alex Xiao by the collar? Are you crazy? How could you do this? Were you hurt when you rushed over?" Alex Xiao raised the corner of his mouth with a smirk. He said, "I almost died. Thank goodness you arrived quickly." Ellen smashed a punch towards the top of the head. She said, "Stop talking nonsense. What's going on?" He said, "Surely Liang is inside." In the sealed room, Bert Howe has been holding her captive for 26 years. Ellen widened her eyes in surprise. He asked, "How did you come here, by yourself? Is there anything else you would like me to translate for you?" Ellen explained that there was no search warrant. They had to break in themselves first. The others would be here soon. As she spoke, she took off her coat. Bandage Alex Xiao's wound. Ellen, who had taken off her coat, was left with just a small tank top. He said, "You care about me so much." Ellen couldn't be bothered to respond to him. After bandaging, Ellen asked about Bert Howe. Alex Xiao was only busy flirting with beautiful women and forgot about Bert Howe escaping. Realizing this, he turned around and chased after him. He also didn't forget to tell Ellen to keep an eye on Shirley Liang. I didn't expect that he would come back as soon as he ran out of the door. Because the door was blocked by Bert Howe's henchmen, making it impossible to get out. Pay attention, that guy just forcefully kissed his female coworker again. Just now. Alex Xiao wants to go chase and capture Bert Howe. Just as he stepped out of the door, he was scared back by a group of thugs. Bert Howe is such a jerk. Did he call all the bodyguards in the building over? So many of them have received professional training. It's difficult for just the two of us to break through. Alex Xiao turned his head and made eye contact with Ellen to discuss countermeasures. Suddenly, he was struck with a bright idea. Just as this group of people rushed over, the surroundings instantly fell into darkness. The bodyguards were in chaos in the darkness, very puzzled about what happened. At this point, the request system sounds off. Power shield activated. Invisibility night vision activated. Alex Xiao sneered coldly. He shouted towards the back of the bodyguard's head. When it comes to fighting, Alex Xiao is definitely an expert. He picked up a wooden stick and started beating fiercely. All that could be heard at the scene were pitiful cries and shouts for help. Many people had no idea what was going on and were hit on the head. One person hid in a corner and used a walkie-talkie to call for help. Suddenly, a hand tapped his shoulder from behind. As he turned around, he took a heavy punch and fainted on the spot. Alex Xiao didn't take too long to knock them all down. Ellen stood in the darkness, looking confused. Why was there no sound? Alex Xiao had already started up the monitors to observe Bert Howe's movements. In the video, Bert Howe is giving orders to a group of bodyguards in the hall. Alex Xiao couldn't help but be amazed. There are still more people. If they come up again, we won't be able to hold on. It's not wise to continue fighting with this injury. Alex Xiao quickly came up with a plan in his mind. Walked up to Ellen and patted her on the shoulder. Although Ellen couldn't see anything in the darkness, her reaction was very quick. Threw a punch that almost hit Alex Xiao on the spot. She heard Alex Xiao's voice and finally relaxed.